Hello, everybody, and welcome. All thanks to LD Mobile. This is NBL Overtime. A heap to get into. Of course. We've got another roster opening spot now at the 36ers. Yes or no? I'll tell you what, boys, I welcome you in. Copped a fair bit of grief. They thought I was fairly weak. A lot of people thought I was weak with yes or no last week. I tried to say it was a soft reintroduction. So bad news for you two boys, because I'm bringing a little bit more heat this week when it comes to yes or no. Plenty more to get into. We've got a very special guest, which is a split second away. But hello to you, Homicide. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Firing through. Liam Santa Marie, hello to you.
Hey, mate. Ready to go.
And we'll get into those veterans as well. Great article at nbl.com.au, which you wrote yesterday. But going to welcome in, of course, the NBA draft. What a year it has been. Pushed back to November 18. And we've got probably more interest than we have for a little while. LaMelo Ball, RJ Hampton, Josh Green, Justinian Jessup as well when it comes to the Next Star program. And when it comes to anyone who's across it all where someone might go for whatever reason, it's Sam Vecenie from The Athletic who joins us. Sam, welcome to NBL Overtime.
What's going on, boys? How you doing?
We're good, man. We're good. Thanks for joining us. Give us the insights.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are over there in Australia, and Liam, I know that our Bombers are a disaster right now, and we have to live through that, and I have to live through an endless draft cycle right now, and plus the United States. So yeah, it's overall things are going as well as they could be, I guess, given the circumstances.
Our man Corey's a Bombers man as well, just quietly.
Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful to hear, Corey.
You'll be coming, we hear that you're coming down here to live. So trust me, you'll have a bunch of allies in Bombers land, whether we're doing well or not.
Fantastic. I love it.
So why the move? What's bringing you back to Melbourne? What's bringing you to Melbourne?
Yeah, my wife's from Melbourne. We wanted to get a change, and obviously my wife misses her family dearly, and we want to be over there and, maybe start a life over there. And obviously I was very lucky. The Athletic, was comfortable with me making the move. So I felt like I'd be able to continue to do my job over there. But no, I mean, mostly it's about family and wanting to get over there and start a fun little excursion for sure.
Well, I can tell you this, one American to another, this is a beautiful place. Yeah. Even in isolation, there are far worse places to be. This I can assure you.
Oh, I mean, I've been over there multiple times. I love the city of Melbourne. It's probably my favorite city on the planet. You can maybe make a case for LA, where I live now, Chicago, but I just love the vibe in Melbourne. I love everything about it. So yeah, you don't got to sell me on it for sure. I'm super pumped and ready to get there.
You are speaking to the right people, of course, and we look forward to seeing you and getting involved youth NBL games. And you touch on the fact that the Athletic have been so great in allowing this to happen. But it also helps when we have Next Star program and it's going so well. I've seen your latest big board, and correct me if I'm wrong if it's changed as we get towards a little bit of a different combine this year. Ball at 1, Hampton at 21, Green at 23, being an Australian and out of the collegiate year, and Justinian Jessup, who you'll see up close and personal in NBL 21 around 60. Is that still relatively order or at least the positioning that it sits right now in your mind?
Yeah, LaMelo for sure. He's not going to move from number 1 on my personal board by the end of the draft for sure. The guy that's kind of helped himself is RJ Hampton, I think. If you kind of talk to the people that have been around him throughout the pre-draft process, he's totally revamped his jumper. He is an incredible worker. He's someone that that was the biggest concern for me watching his games in the NBL. I actually did not think he had a particularly effective season over there. And it was in large part because nobody really respected the threat of the jumper. His mechanics were all over the place. His feet were too close together. He had no shooting base. And then he has a very left eye dominant jump shot that it seems like he's trying to revamp and kind of bring his load point more toward the middle of his body. So he's gone a long way through the pre-draft process toward rectifying the biggest concern that I have with him. I have him at the end of the lottery right now. And I think that I would be a little bit surprised to see him get out of the lottery.
Homicide, you've had LaMelo Ball at 1 for 12 months, mate. Talk to Sam, as you both seem to have the same ideas.
Look, the first time I saw this kid play, I said this kid was the number 1 pick. This was preseason against the defending back-to-back champions, the Perth Wildcats. They play the toughest defense. They are the most physical team in the league. And for him to play the way he played a year ago, I knew going against the players who I felt everybody was talking about, he would be the best. I'm old school. And what I mean by that is if a kid is young and really talented, I want to see what he does against grown men. This is one of the best domestic leagues in the world outside the NBA. And what he's done for me proves against men, 17-7-7, this is the #1 pick. Can you see Minnesota keeping him or using him to trade?
Yeah, I'm not sure what Minnesota's going to do. They're definitely keeping all of their options open. It's very early in the draft process. I think that it remains to be seen what Minnesota's going to do. And do they take in Anthony Edwards over him because they think that it's a little bit better of a positional fit? Do they maybe try and move down because they don't love the fit of LaMelo Ball being a ball-dominant player with another ball-dominant pick-and-roll guard in a D'Angelo Russell? I think there are a lot of options. I personally would take him and keep him if I was Minnesota. I really think he's just an absolutely special player, and his ability to create separation with the tempo that he handles the ball at, and his live dribble passing is absolutely exceptional. He's going to get separation against NBA players. I don't really have a doubt about that. He's going to be able to make plays at an exceedingly high level for his teammates on the NBA court. I don't really have a doubt about that. There are a few things I have some concerns about, the main one being the jump shot and the secondary one being just defensive effort consistently. But in general, it's hard for me to pass up on guys that have just what I think is genius level of basketball IQ. The way that he thinks the game, the way he sees the second and third level of the defense, it's just absolutely different from what most teenagers see. And, to your point, Corey, I mean, this kid grew up playing up in age group. First time I saw him, he was playing under 17s with Lonzo, his brother, his other brother, LiAngelo, on an independent AAU team at the Adidas Summer Championships, probably back in 2016. He was 14 or 15 years old playing at the U17 level. And I mean, he had to be my height, like 5'9", 5'10", and, could barely get the ball up over his chin for a jump shot. He's totally revamped his jump shot and was still out there chucking 30-footers because he has that confidence level. He just has that mentality every time he steps on the court that he can compete and he can be among the best, if not the best, on the court. So I'm a big fan of LaMelo Ball, and, I'm with Corey. I think he is the #1 player in this draft.
Sam, obviously he's a very special player in all those kinds of ways that you laid out there, but let's talk about some of the question marks about him, which were there when he came to Australia. And to be honest, I think probably are still there in many ways. They were the shot selection, the shot mechanics, his defense in every sense of the word at that end of the floor. We saw some footage drop this morning on social media of him in some workouts and the work he's been doing to his shot, which I'm sure you caught. What are you hearing from NBA GMs and people associated with the draft about those elements of his game?
Sure. So I saw the jump shot video like everyone else on the internet. I don't really see a whole lot different there. Like with RJ, you could see a very real mechanical shift in regard to the way he shoots from the ground up, right? With LaMelo, it's a lot of very similar stuff. Maybe you could make the case that he's fading away a bit less on the jump shot and is coming from a place of better balance. But I'd be interested to see how that holds up against high-level competition whenever he has guys closing out on him at full speed that have 7-foot wingspans and can try to make his life miserable, right? I don't really see an enormous difference there, but I'm also someone who thinks that as he gets stronger and as he gets a bit bulkier over the course of years, goes from being 19 years old to a 25-year-old, I really think that physical strength helps a lot with the repeatability of mechanics from possession to possession, from game to game, from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, because guys get tired and, muscles, whenever you're younger, they just don't hold up in the same way that they do whenever you're 25 years old. So I think that kind of stuff is going to help him. And I think he has actually a natural touch level that often gets a little bit underrated. So the jumper is a concern to me just because you don't know if he's going to settle in as a 33% shooter that takes a lot of high-level contested shots, or if he can turn into a 38% three-point shooter that takes a lot of high-level contested shots. But the defense, oh, Liam, the defense, what a weird path that is for LaMelo Ball, because there are times where he makes really high-level rotations.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll see a driver coming and he makes like a really high-level rotation from the weak side to contest. He's not really physical enough to hold up the point of attack whenever that guy goes up through his body, but he does make that anticipatory read at times that makes you think that there is some upside there. A lot of the time, though, like I counted, I've watched every minute LaMelo Ball played this year, right? I caught 7 or 8 different times where he's supposed to be tagging a backside roller, going toward the basket and pick and roll. And he was just like wiping his shoes, getting ready to either go up the sky for a rebound or go get an outlet pass, right? So that's the kind of stuff that, like, for instance, if you fall to number 2, that was a highlight today of the press conference that he did for the Combine, right? Him mentioning about LeVar not wanting him to go to Golden State. I mean, if he goes to Golden State and is wiping his shoes when he's supposed to be tagging on a backside, can you imagine what Draymond Green's reaction is going to be to him? Like, he's going to just scream at him in the middle of the court if that happens. He's going to scream him out in practice the whole time. So it's the engagement level, I think, on defense as much as anything. That's the number one thing for me. If he's engaged, he actually knows where to be.
Oh, see, that's the interesting point for me because, you know, you talk about him and his high basketball IQ. I think so much of that for him is feel and instinct. He can kind of scent the ball. And, you know, he's got obviously those great physical tools to become a really good defender. And heck, he almost led the league in steals here. He might as well have 1.7 a game because he reads those lanes. For me, when he came over here, it kind of, in a way, kind of reminded me of Shaq in Blue Chips, Neon Bordeaux, when Nick Nolte finds him and he's hearing the guy talking in his ear saying he's raw, never been coached. I feel like that's LaMelo Ball at the defensive end of the floor. In so many, you say he kind of, when he's engaged, he knows what to do. I wasn't so sure watching him this season whether he'd actually received that coaching. And I'm wondering whether GMs are looking at him at that end of the floor saying, this kid just needs to be taught what to do at that end of the floor, and then he'll be able to do it. I mean, are you hearing those kinds of things from GMs and assistant GMs?
It's hit or miss, I would say. Some really do buy into that ideal that, you know, he's a guy that didn't necessarily get a ton of half-court defensive instruction before he got over to Australia because he didn't, right? A lot of the time, the situations that LaMelo Ball was involved in early in his career were catered to the Ball family in many ways. So, no, he didn't necessarily get that high-level instruction. Lower levels, and some guys believe that you can really develop that, especially given some of the field-based reads that he did make throughout the year in Australia. Other executives like guys that show a hyper level of engagement, right? Guys that are always on and guys that are always there and can be counted on. So it is definitely hit or miss depending on who you talk to across the NBA.
Homicide, you're big on his X factor and he's a rock star, man. Talk to us about that, because that's going to be big, isn't it, Homicide, for when he makes the NBA and what it means for him?
I mean, of course, he has that it factor. He's going to fill out arenas, any arena he plays. He has 5 million followers on the gram. He's been born into this life. There's so many things off the court you do not have to worry about him. Kid has his own Lamborghini. You know, this is not the story where a kid who's a really good, talented player that comes from an inner city home, a broken family, and he gets a boatload of money and doesn't know how to act. I mean, that is huge in development for a young NBA player, a young superstar in the making. He has a cult following. You know, obviously we heard the rumors about the sneaker deal and the jet and $100 million and all of this stuff. I think that this is going to help him a lot. And another thing, he came into the NBL. Defense was a 0. We all know this, like you both just tapped on. But a lot of the stuff also was wanting to play defense. I think that it's going to be more of an effort thing. And he's now where he wants to be. the NBA. He knows what the expectations are going to be. He has to put that effort in and that work in. And I think from the beginning of the NBL to where he finished the NBL, he showed tremendous growth. And I think it's just going to be more of an effort thing. You know if your jump shot ain't good, you know what you're going to have to do to excel. You got to put in the work, and I have no doubt, based off videos I saw and the work that he and Jermaine and Sunday Ditch put in, why Sunday Ditch looked as good as he did. It's the extra effort and the extra work you got to put in. That's why I ain't even worrying about that. It's effort. Look at Carmelo Anthony. Went to the University of Syracuse. Averaged 20 his freshman year. Did anybody talk about defense with him? He still can't play defense. Syracuse players sit in a zone. They're for every game. They don't know how to play defense. Nobody dwelt on that. This ain't no different. It's an effort thing. When you get to the next level, it's going to require another level of you. So it's going to be on him to put the effort in. But I want to talk about the 2020 draft and why is it in your eyes so special? To me, it's just unpredictability after like the first 10, 15 picks. Everything else, flip of a coin.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's going to be pretty unpredictable from pick one, to be honest. You could tell me that Minnesota decides to trade their pick. You could tell me that Golden State wants to get a veteran in there because they think that they're ready to compete now. They could try to trade their pick. Charlotte, I don't know what Charlotte is thinking necessarily. They have a lot of holes. They desperately need star power. I think this draft is as uncertain as anything that I can remember since the 2013 NBA draft, where Anthony Bennett shockingly went number 1 overall. I will say I'm not a huge fan of the overall talent level in this draft, from top to maybe the 20th overall spot. I think that LaMelo Ball is certainly a very capable top 5 pick, a guy that would easily go in the top 5 for me in most drafts. I don't know that he will be an average number 1 overall pick necessarily, given the high level of expectation and the high level of talent that tends to be taken at number 1. Like, I don't think he's Zion Williamson. I don't think he's Luka Doncic necessarily, even though Luka went 3 for reasons that are incomprehensible. I don't think he's that level of prospect. I think he is the next tier down, but that's okay. I still think that guy can be an all-star, right? I think that guy could easily turn into something like that. And then you get beyond LaMelo Ball. I think that all of these prospects just have very, very real questions that could end up significantly hindering their overall careers. I do like the talent level from number 21 to number 45 or so. I think there are some guys there that will really end up exceeding their draft position and making some GMs look pretty dumb. But from the top 20, I'm not an enormous fan of this draft. I think that it's an overall a bit below average draft, to be honest.
Sam, obviously 2020 has been thrown on its head in every single imaginable way. Just talk to us about the differences in the combine and some of the decisions by some of these top sort of rated players to not participate and the ones that have how they've actually done it.
Yeah, the top players very rarely participate in the combine as it is. Sometimes guys will go and do media sessions. Sometimes guys will go and do athletic testing if they know that they're going to succeed within the athletic testing. So in a lot of ways, this combine, even though it's virtual and is being held at these different NBA facilities throughout the country as opposed to a singular facility within Chicago, in that vein, it's not particularly different in the respect of how they're going about gathering their information. It is obviously very different. These kids are going to these NBA markets and trying to, do testing. They have to do these crazy shooting videos for teams that you get. I think it's 3 chances to upload onto the NBA server or something like that. I'm not a person that thinks the combine is particularly valuable outside of getting the measurements, medicals, and the 5-on-5 can sometimes reveal some things I think that are interesting. So in that vein, I don't know that it's necessarily the biggest loss in the world for the NBA that the combine isn't existing, but isn't existing in its normal format, maybe is the better way to put it. But I think that there are some benefits, particularly in regard to NBA teams getting medical information from these prospects and being able to make the most informed decisions based upon that.
Just back on LaMelo for a sec. Corey hit on a really key point before when he talked about the sort of main element of the Next Stars program, right? These guys come over here and play against grown men, elite level pros. I'm interested in kind of what boxes got ticked for NBA GMs and draft analysts like yourself, people like over in the States analyzing his game from his time here. Because what we saw when he came here was a kid that was just 100% focused on getting better. Bought in with his teammates and, you know, like was focused. There was no circus in town with LaMelo Ball that he was keen on. He was here to play ball. And, you know, the team ended up kind of revolving around him for a number of different reasons. But I'm wondering, like, we saw him roar up draft boards throughout his time in the NBL. What were the key boxes that got ticked along that way?
Yeah, so you mentioned the idea of him getting to the NBL and being all about work, right? That was the thing that NBA executives did have some questions about, just because you come from the Ball family, there's so much pomp and circumstance around the whole thing. They have the Ball in the Family Facebook show. LeVar is a force unto himself in many ways that will make things, to an extent, he includes himself, maybe is the better way to put it, as opposed to revolving around him. So I think that NBA teams wanted to see LaMelo be able to get out of the day-to-day spotlight and go and work in a way that was substantial and important to his game. And all of the reports that I've heard are similarly positive to you in terms of him being a positive influence and in terms of him being a person that was just all about going in and putting in the work. So I think that that's one big thing. I think that because we hadn't really seen LaMelo play a ton at high-level competition over the course of the last couple of years, went over to Lithuania, played for Spire in a schedule that was not quite as strong as it could have been because a lot of teams refused to play Spire due to his presence because they were worried about like amateurism and everything like that. I think that it often created circumstances where he was going up against lower level competition than what we maybe knew. Maybe we didn't totally know how great he was yet. Similarly, he also experienced a very real growth spurt over the last 18 months that completely transformed his game in many ways. I think that in many ways, part of the reason that his shot has taken as much time as it is that just from a body mechanics perspective, it's really hard to grow like 8 inches or 7 inches or whatever he did over the course of the last 2 years and maintain the same form on your jump shot. As you move up those 7 or 8 inches, the arc goes up on your jump shot if you keep the same release point. So it often kind of has to change along with your body. Your jumper has to change along with your body. So I think that there was a lot of uncertainty about seeing what kind of play LaMelo would bring to the table in the NBL. And like you said, Liam, I think he ticked a lot of the important boxes. I do think he's also helped, though, by the fact that a lot of other prospects within this class also didn't necessarily tick boxes, in addition to him not necessarily ticking all of the boxes.
When did he take the big leap on your board? Like Corey said, for him, he saw him have that near triple-double in the preseason against Damian Martin and the Wildcats, and he's like, he's the number 1 pick. Jonathan Gavoni from ESPN was in the building that night, and he roared after that from an early second rounder or maybe pick 30 to, I think, number 2 on his next mock draft. When did he take the big leap for you?
Yeah, I was right around that time. I don't know the exact game necessarily. It was certainly right around that time. Certainly before the regular season, after the
blitz.
After he had gotten over there. Yeah. I'd talked to enough NBA scouts to know at that stage, okay, this is real. Like, this is legitimate. He jumped from, I think I had him at 21 or 22 entering the year up to number 5. So And then from 5 to 1 was just kind of gradual throughout the course of the year as I watched him play and as he improved his game and got more comfortable throughout the NBL. So I would say it was something in that range, like between the blitz and the start of the season, something along those lines.
3 names we're going to see in NBL 21, Justinian Jessup, Mojave King, and Josh Giddey, of course, on different big boards, one a little earlier than the other two. From an NBA perspective and GMs and drafts and scouts, who are they most excited about out of that trio?
Yeah, you'll get different answers to that. It's still very early in the process. I would say Giddey is probably the one that brings the most excitement, followed by Mojave, followed by Jessup. Jessup's obviously the one that's most prepared to play as the one that's 22 years old as opposed to a teenager. Giddey, obviously at 6'7", I believe the first or the youngest player to ever get time for the Australian national team. In qualifiers, the Asia Pacific qualifiers. Mm-hmm. And, a guy that can really shoot the ball, seems to have a real understanding and feel for how to play at 6'7". Really good athlete. Obviously, he's going to be dependent in terms of how his body fills out over the course of the next couple of years. But his feel for the game, his toughness, his ability to shoot, I think he is someone that I will have in the first round entering the 2021 cycle. Mojave King, obviously a bit of a combo guard, bit of a scoring guard, 6'4"-ish, a guy that I think is skilled with ball in hand, but it's still a little bit stiff for me when I watch him. And I'm going to be interested to see how that stiffness kind of evaporates as his body grows and matures and he gets stronger and continues to evolve, because him getting into his pull-ups, I think it's a little bit stiff. I'll have him right around the top 40 or so entering the 2021 process. And then Justinian Jessup, end of the second round kind of guy, elite level shooter. There are going to be comparisons made. He's certainly helped by the presence of Duncan Robinson in the NBA Finals. Teams really want guys who can knock down shots at an exceedingly high level. The difference between Jessup and Duncan Robinson is that Jessup's release is considerably lower, his release point, and it takes him a little bit longer to get that shot off than Duncan Robinson. But entering the NBA and entering the G League, Duncan Robinson had those same concerns. So I think that teams could see Jessup as a two-way contract kind of guy or a draft and stash kind of guy that they can work with over the next couple of years and maybe develop into that high leverage, quick trigger shooter that we know has incredible touch, as a guy who hit, I believe it's 42% of his threes and 95% of his free throws last year.
Hashtag NBL Overtime. You can follow Sam on Twitter. You're on Instagram too, Sam. My apologies. Are you on the gram or not?
Not enough.
Okay.
It's Vecenie on Instagram. Yeah. You can follow me, but it's like I Instagram about like baking stuff in my animals. Yeah. So like I don't know if you're going to get too much content.
And we're going to see a lot of Melbourne scenery somewhat soon on your gram as well. So on Twitter, Homicide, before we let Sam go, next time we'll probably all be in an NBL stadium sometime next time the four of us get together. Any last words as we head towards the NBA draft in a little short time?
Safe travels when you get over here. And that's all. Let's get ready for the unpredictable 2020 NBA draft.
Yeah, it's gonna be a wild process, man. I'm excited for it. Thanks for having me.
Anytime, mate. Look forward to you. And as Homicide said, looking forward to seeing you in Melbourne. Sam Vecenie from the Athletics. We head towards the NBA draft and, of course, twinkled in with a little NBL Next Star as well.
With the regular year in the clear, these are your Aldi Mobile NBL top 10 swats of shot. At number 10, R.J. Hampton nearly goes down after hitting the hard pick, but with sheer force of effort, he's got one more trick. RJ says no to LaMelo as the Americans get in at number 10. On to number 9, and Daniel Grita's gonna need a breather after this one. Eric Griffin is on his horse, showing no remorse as he smacks that one straight down to the ground for Adelaide at number 9. At 8, it's just in his nature to be a space invader. Cam Oliver, like a blur, comes flying in to prevent that shot at the rim. Space Cam proving he does more than just slam as this block gets on the chart at number 8. On to number 7, and once again, it's Space Cam on the rise, but Will Magnay flies in and denies. It's not just any man that can deny a Cam slam, but Big Will, with more reach than a satellite, says not tonight. Will Magnay in at number 7. At 6, once again, it's that tower of power making the offense cower. Will Magnay's above the rim all day, and he's just too strong for Sean Long. It's just perfect defense as he goes straight up for the stuff. Will Magnay going back-to-back at 7 and 6. On to number 5, and Eric Griffin's on a dunking mission, but Space Cam goes up and scrapes the clouds as this shot gets straight plowed right into the crowd. There's no easy takes on the Snakes as Space Cam is back at number 5. Space Cam and Magnay dominating these plays at 4. Once again, getting off the floor to deny some more. It's Big Will just swatting the pill. Kids, most of the time, you're just fine to mimic Anthony Drimmick, but stay away from this play all day as Will Magnay gets in at number 4. At 3, it's DJ Newble breaking free. But wait a sec. Henry bouncing off a trampoline, and this swat of DJ is flat obscene. Sec Henry looks like he got a rocket strapped to his back as he denies that rim attack. That gets him in at number 3. On to number 2, where Daniel Greta comes in fully cocked to absolutely rock that shot. Jay-Sean Tate thought he might skate, but Greta with an Illawarra crowd pleaser as he takes flight for the volleyball spike in at number 2. But at number 1, it's an old-fashioned one-on-one pitting DJ against Che, and Obi wins the day. Helping out and swatting that shot straight down into the ground, wins Obi the crown for the best block of the year. That's number 1, son, on the NBL. Count it.
Oh, there he is. So the number 1 block of last year, all thanks to LD Mobile, Obi Kyei. And the fact is, and the news is, boys, that it was kind of rumored a little bit. I know, Liam, you sort of mentioned it a couple of months ago in NBL Overtime that he was continually trying to work on his fashion label and interest outside of basketball. I didn't pick up on the fact that he might not be playing in NBL 21, but by a mutual agreement, I'll get it out, he's not going to be at the Adelaide 36ers next year. Before I get the latest from you, Liam, are you wearing one of his pieces there, Homicide?
I definitely am. Shout out to Roland Obi. That's his company. That's his brand. He has a little bit of what Dapper Dan used to do back in the day. Dapper Dan is a fashion icon in New York City. And what he did was buy the pieces of high-end fashion labels that they do not use and add it into his own pieces. So as you can see, I got the Fendi strip going across. And it's a nice two-tone sweater. So it fits really well. So appreciate the love and good luck. I have no doubt. This is the flyest dude in the NBL last year. Mm-hmm. Without doubt. His page is serious. You know, he can definitely, he's runway ready. Paris, runway ready. New York, London. He has that type of global style on the fashion tip. So I salute and I support. And good luck in the future.
Liam, it's fair to say when we're talking runways, Paris, New York, Melbourne, whatever, that's Homicide's domain. Let's just talk about what this means for his career, because we did see him play some pretty nice minutes last year, as you know, just shown by that block there. Is this the end of his NBL career, do you think?
I hope not. I really do. I mean, he had a great debut season in the NBL last year. He was a really good find by Joey Wright to come in as a local guy who could end up starting. I thought he gave really good minutes. I liked the energy he played with at both ends of the floor. You saw that block on Cam Oliver there. He sent a few shots packing over the course of the season, and I liked the way he went about it. So I thought he was a guy that had a pretty good long future in the NBL. Mm-hmm. We saw them recruit some big bodies. They brought in Isaac Humphries. It's very exciting. They brought in Keanu Pinder, and it was at that point that I started to feel, and I got the sense he might start to look around. He might start to get the feel like his role might not be as big as he would have liked. There's obviously the salary cuts in place for next season. So good on him. He's obviously, as Corey says, he's got a great eye for fashion. He's got that other thing going on, and he's going to dive right into it. I hope he keeps playing ball over the next 6-9 months. I really do. And now, of course, we hope his fashion label takes off and is a major success, as Corey suggested. But I also hope he keeps playing ball, whether that's training with the Sydney Kings or doing what he needs to do. Because next season, everything goes well. the expectation is the salary goes back to where it's supposed to be. There's a brand new team in the league, a whole bunch more jobs available. The rosters go back from 10 to 11. And, I'd love to see him back in the league at some point if he was interested in doing that.
Right,
yeah, there's no way a talented player like himself is not going to play anymore. I just can't see it. Maybe it's just this 1 year. Let's just call it that. That's just exactly what it is. It's this year. He's going to focus his energy on the label, and then he's going to come back because, come on, man, I'm sure he can multitask. If the label pops off, why not do both? You know what I mean? If it pops off, you can hire way more staff or hire staff to get this thing on an elite global level, and you can still hoop. And if anything, you could fund the brand with the salary of the NBL next year. So good luck to him, and I hope we do see him again.
Good dude, too. Good dude. Like, if there's no sort of question of his character or ability to kind of come in and be a harmonious member of a team. I got to spend a bit of time with him in Salt Lake City this time last year. And, I think teams should be keeping contact with him and keep tabs on him over the course of the season. That would be the smart play.
What'd you do in Utah, mate? Hit the designer shops with him, did you? Just maybe the wholesalers just to find some materials? Is that what
I
you
certainly didn't pick up any good tips, as we can all see on the week to week.
All right, with the Adelaide 36ers, it now opens up a local roster spot. Are you hearing anything specific?
I heard something a little while ago, and that's why I suggested a little while ago, hey, I'm not certain that this Adelaide roster is finished, even though they have all the spots filled right now. What I heard a little while ago is they were going to look to bring in a small forward. Now, it would make sense that that's an import, right? Because they've got Donald Sloan, but they've got another import that they could possibly bring in. And you've got some high-level talent. Like, you've signed Isaac Humphries. You've signed Donald Sloan. You've paid up to bring in a guy like Sunday Dech. You've still got Daniel Johnson on the roster. Are you all in or are you half in? If you're all in, go and get a good small forward import. Continue to bring Jack McVeigh off the bench for mine. I think he's got a good future in the game. But if you can start an import small forward in that spot, I think now you've got a roster that could really do something.
Yeah, excellent point. I was thinking there was only a local spot, but of course they're only the one import down. You got anyone in mind, Homicide? A 3 wing?
No, I gotta go do some research real quick.
and this is obviously, and I think they'll take their time. This is another advantage, and we've heard clubs speak about this. Tommy Greer joined us a couple of weeks ago, and the fact is that the season is pushed back. It's a reality, but it allows a big deep breath from certain organisations when filling out their roster, either by the fact they knew it a couple of weeks ago, 2 months ago, or a little more, in recent times like the Adelaide 36ers. There's no way to rush into it. There's no need to. We've still got, obviously, NBA stuff that's got to still fall out, the European situations as well. So Adelaide, I think, will take their time, but it also puts them in, a pretty good position to be able to fill that spot and have a real crack at this thing when it comes to their roster they've put together.
Yeah, and I think if you're an Adelaide fan, there'll be some slightly mixed emotions because I think a lot of them really grew to like Obi last season and thought, oh, geez, we've found a diamond in the rough, and this is a guy that could be a part of the roster and we can grow with. I like the way he went about it, played with a high motor, which fans always enjoy. But the fact that you do have that import potential to bring in does open up that flexibility, and there'll be a hint of excitement about what that roster could look like.
Phil Handy, Homicide, played in the NBL, of course. He's no stranger to NBL fans, and to be fair, he's no stranger to winning NBA championships. And again, no coincidence, he's back there again, prominent role on the bench with the Lakers, and they take on the Heat.
Man, what a story. We talk about Torrey Craig coming over here and playing and getting an opportunity. And I had a chance to talk to him last year when he was here. I spoke to him the other night. And just to continue to add to his legacy, it's incredible where your journey can begin. And if you keep putting in work, opportunity will come. And it's on you to make the best of your opportunity. And he's done that. Like LeBron loves him. I remember when he was here, we was out talking and, just shooting the shit. And he literally was like, yo, like, I want to be here for a little bit longer. But LeBron is like, where are you? I need to get into the gym. Like, that shows you. We're talking about arguably one of the greatest players of all time is calling you complaining because he wants to be in the gym and you're in Australia. That's incredible in itself. So, you know, he has another opportunity for a third team to get another championship. So congratulations and good luck to him.
It's pretty remarkable achievement, isn't it? 6 straight
Nuts.
NBA finals with a whole bunch, with, as you said, a bunch of different teams. Really, really great effort. And big friend of the NBL. As you said, played here, but closely associated with Melbourne United. Does a lot of work with them. And you know, when teams visit the States, always likes to help out and show people around and get them involved and whatnot. So, and you know, we know he's made his journey and made his mark as a development coach, as a guy that can, you know, help you to work on your skills and get better individually. That guy's on the front row of the coaching staff for the Lakers. There's Frank Vogel, Jason Kidd's on one side, Phil Handy's on the other. So he is right in the heart of the action, and we salute him.
Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. Of course, the NBA Finals going to be huge. We're going to keep your eye on that as well. All right, NBL.com.au.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry to cut you off. But to add to what you're saying, Liam, I want people to understand, just because you weren't a draft pick and you get on the coaching staff because of your career in the NBA doesn't mean you should be respected less or looked at less if your route wasn't that way. You understand what I'm saying? Some guys are late bloomers and late developers, or just did not get the opportunity to get drafted to go. But it doesn't mean if you've gone another route to get there that you are any less or to be less respected. And like you just said, he's on the front row for a reason. LeBron ain't calling them other coaches. Look, what I need you here. Can you hurry up and get here? He had to leave his trip late. Why? He knows his stuff. LeBron knows what value he adds. That's why he's blowing him up and not nobody else to work with them until he comes back.
And the other guy who is in that mix from an NBL perspective, hasn't made 6 straight trips to the NBA Finals, but my man Jamal Mosley.
J-Mose. Shout out to J-Mose.
He is well and truly in these conversations as a future NBA head coach. And you're right, he didn't take that route through the NBA draft, a long NBA career and those kinds of things, and played overseas, got into the coaching game early, and is very highly respected in that realm. So we keep a close eye on him as well, and his journey. And I'm
gonna piggyback off that. I used to live in Denver. That's my guy. He was up for the Knicks coaching job. He went in there to interview. When I tried out with Denver and was working out with Denver, he got on the coaching staff. They didn't pay him the first year. I'm trying to tell you the type of work you have to put in. When you get an opportunity, it ain't about the check. Put yourself in a position to win, and later you'll get what you'll get the money. Don't chase the money. Chase the opportunity and maximize that window. The money will come later. Perfect example of that.
And I bring him up because I've been riding his coattails for 20 years. And I just mention it to give a guy another chance to roll the footage of some overlay. Roll the footage of some overlay. The big fella rolled it down as he filled the left lane.
I can't wait. He is, as you touched on, in the mix for one of these NBA head coaching roles. There's another one pops up today with the Clippers. I can't wait till he gets one of them. And then the NBA franchise actually rolls out the clip involving our man, Liam Santamaria, standing it off. And say, hey, don't sleep on our new coach. He could hoop. And there you are.
Have you ever seen someone thread a needle?
Never.
Quite like that.
Never.
That was a dime. That was definitely a dime.
Hey, now you don't thread the needle anymore. You are writing great articles, and I see one on NBL.com.au. And talking veterans, of course, Anderson, Vicona, Walker, Pledger, 4 guys who, of course, are in this weird 2020 offseason still looking, 1, if they want to play the game again or continue to play it, or 2, if they've been able to find a job. Of course, Conrad was another guy as well. Great article, nbl.com.au. After chatting to all of them, Liam, where do you sit on those individual guys? Is there someone that I think wants to play more than the others or less likely to end up on a roster? What do you make of it?
The 2 guys that of that group that are really keen to continue to play, under the current circumstances, Dave Anderson and Alex Pledger. Those guys, and these guys, talk about Anderson and Mika, and Pledger's a 4-time NBL champ. Mika's won 5. You could make an argument he's the most highly respected player in NBL history. Not the best, but you could argue he's the most highly respected. And Dave Anderson, an absolute giant of Australian hoops. Conrad, 3rd all-time in Hawks games played. He's a great of that club. We've only got 9 clubs. He's a great of a team that's been here the whole time. So these guys have played, had a great career, and potentially might still have continue to play out more in their career. But I thought it was worth kind of shining a spotlight on their situation because they've been great players for a long time, and right now they're uncontracted, and their future is really uncertain. So hopefully we continue to see them, whether it's this season or next season. But each has their own unique situation. A couple of them are kind of sinking their teeth into new things. Lucas Walker with his new business, repping. Mika's got something up and going as well. Tim Conrad, we know he's been doing his thing, Rebound Nutrition, for a few years. So they've all got sort of some different things going on, but a lot of those guys still have some ball to play.
So can you see any of those guys where we are, smaller roster, of course, and we touched on it earlier, teams taking a big, deep breath before filling out their rosters. Can you see 1 or 2 of these guys, Pledger or Anderson, based on what Liam just said, finding a spot?
I have the utmost respect for all these guys. David Anderson, whenever I see him, I just always start with 23 championships. The most winningest Aussie ever. Probably Lauren Jackson is next to him. I don't know if Lauren has 23 or something, but what he has done with his career, he's won everywhere he has played. And he's played a significant role in those championships all over the world. He doesn't have to play anymore, but he loves the game. He still can compete at a high level. I'm signing him if I have an opportunity available. And I guarantee you, if he ain't playing in NBL, he's going to Europe. He still has a motor. Remember, he got injured last year. So, and with this break, he's in the same boat, kind of like Bogut. He's never had this long of a rest. He still has more to prove because of the fact that he loves the game. I know he's going to play somewhere. He's not retiring. That's for sure. Pledger, how many championships he got?
4.
4. He can help a team. I don't see him hanging his boots up. Somebody's going to take him. Why wouldn't you? Just the experience on the bench, locker room presence, backup center. Why would you not? Conrad. Oh, my God. This has been the most consistent player in the history. And I'm talking about my man Glenn Saville, who I love. Okay, who's the GM up there?
Campbell.
That's the backbone of Illawarra, Wollongong back in those days, right? Correct?
Yeah.
You got to put Tim Conrad up there, even though he didn't win a chip, but his consistency, his professionalism, being ready all the time, being in shape, being ready to knock down those threes, open or tough shots. This is a shot maker. He can be on somebody's roster. And we all know Mika Vacona, that's the ultimate warrior. That's who he is. He's an icon for basketball, not only in the NBL, but definitely in New Zealand. All of these guys I can still see play. But, if they have to put their boots up, they have had an admirable, respectable career, and I salute them. And I don't respect nobody. So if I'm respecting you, you have put in work.
NBL.
Well said.
.au, yes, very well said. Check the article.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
Oh no, I just don't want to stop there. We're like showing respect to these greats of the game in Australia and New Zealand, I think is a really important thing for us to do. Now, none of these guys have officially announced retirement. And so we're not trying to do things prematurely, but in the meantime, while the story is to watch what's going to happen with their future, let's make sure we celebrate the terrific careers that they've had, just like we did Damian Martin earlier in the year. Speaking with Pledger, for example, he obviously had that injury during last season, and there was an element of frustration for him because he was like, look, I got hurt, I came back, didn't get a lot of court time down the stretch of the season, And the last thing in people's memories is this big 7-footer who had foot problems last season. And and he wanted to get out on the floor in the off season at the lower levels and show that he's good to go. And COVID has made that impossible. He's in near Melbourne. He's locked down. That's been really tricky. So, a guy like that is just kind of looking for an opportunity to prove that he's healthy. Speaking of Dave Anderson, he made the point. He said, look, playing or not playing in Australia or overseas, I want to stay involved in the game. I have a lot to give. I have so much experience and knowledge from my time in the league. And he's such a personable guy too. Would be a great addition to any organization on or off the floor. And so, and I also think he'd be a great addition to the Boomers program off the floor in the coaching staff as well, as a guy that's been to a lot of tournaments and would be a great guy to add into that mix as well. So
100%. He has to be involved. I think he's still going to play, but if he doesn't, as you said, there's no way. He's a staple in Australian basketball. Yes, he played majority of his career abroad. He's still a staple. Yes, Lauryn Hill played abroad. She's still a staple. Luke Longley is a part of the Boomers. Fantastic. So should he be.
I also spoke to Mecca, and he's not quoted in the article. We know Mecca. He likes his privacy, right? And so
Does he have Instagram?
He just wants to keep everything that he's doing on the down low. But I just want to shout him out as well as a 5-time champion and a revered figure in our league. I think he's had a really big impact in Brisbane over these 2 years. Maybe not necessarily on the floor as he's dealt with injuries and a lesser role, but in terms of helping to establish a culture there that of kind of consistent success and competing on the day-to-day and being in that kind of mix of things. I mean, they were back-to-back wooden spooners when Mika arrived, and they've been right there on the bubble, just inside and just outside the playoffs. And I think if they go on to achieve great things over the next few years, you're going to hear people shouting out Mika and the role he played in setting the foundations for what they may go on to achieve.
I mean, it's literally just like Miami Heat and Udonis Haslem. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. NBL.com.au to read the article. All right, let's get the yes or no. You already taken one of my
You just want to get the yes or no. Liam and I are rolling. He just want to get the.
We're running out of time, so I'm running out of time. I've got a guy in my ears saying, move it on. NBL.com.au, check the article. One of the questions is now officially almost redundant due to that conversation. But anyway, that's all good. Hey, since his debut in 2007, is Joe Ingles the best player to have played in the NBL?
I think he's asking you, Corey.
I'm asking you, Liam.
All right. Yes.
Hey, we spoke about Obi Kyei, and we know how great he is. But from a playing perspective, is this a win for Adelaide Homicide?
I don't know. How could it be a win for him?
Oh, well, then say no.
No.
All right. Josh Green, would he be rated a little bit higher? Currently, of course, Sam Vecenie's got him at 23. Would he be rated higher, Liam, had he been a next star and spent the year in Australia doing what Ball and Hampton did?
Yes.
Homicide, if we go to a hub, just for a short time, say it's a month or 6 weeks, so it's not the entire season, but if we go to a hub, should we end it with an NBL All-Star game with all the players, the best players under the same roof?
No.
Should Tasmania reach out to David Anderson and say, look, we don't know where we're going to be in 12 months' time, Liam, but we want you to be a part of this franchise, building it. If you can play in 12 months' time, we'll look at that. But should they offer him a role now to kickstart that franchise?
Yes.
Corey, well, the later NBA season and the dates, of course, it's been fairly well documented around the USA team, but will it significantly damage the Boomers' chances of winning a medal in Tokyo?
Yes.
Liam, should Melbourne United be chasing Jonah Bolden?
Yes.
Corey, should we be playing more games in NBL 21, like nightly?
No.
On that, should we change the finals format, Liam? We're going to reset it. Everything can get thrown out. We can
last finals formats.
So do we leave it or do we change it? Do we change it? Yes or no?
Yes. We're going
Okay.
to introduce a wildcard game. I'm on board.
Thank you. Beautifully. Just while I'm with you, Liam, do we overestimate Hugh Greenwood's basketball ability? Great podcast last week. Great AFL player. But do we overestimate his ability to play basketball?
Well, he hasn't played basketball for a while. Do we overestimate his...
What he could do?
No.
Do we overestimate the damage he could do in the NBL if he played in 2 years' time?
I don't think so. Do you?
Oh, yeah, I think so. He's going to be 32, 33 and hasn't played in 6 years. I don't think he's going to drop us 25 and 10, is he?
Is anyone saying that he will?
No, but then all of a sudden it just seems like he's just going to get a game after having 6 years away from it.
I think he's realistic. He knows he's going to... That would be a big journey to get there.
He might be realistic. I think it's the rest of the world that might not be. Hey, Homicide, can you pronounce the name of the new Southeast Melbourne development player?
No.
Liam,
Come on.
No.
Because I can't.
Make him try.
What is the name? What is his name?
Liam, he's your man.
Make him try to say it.
Too many letters.
Come on, man.
I just saw it I didn't know how to even attempt to pronounce it. I just got the Greek freak correct like 3 days ago.
You don't even know how to attempt.
Double the letter amounts. I've never heard nobody say it before. Somebody say it. No one's going to say it?
I'll say it.
Liam, you say he's your man. You love him.
I like him. I do like him. Isaiah Mario Huliafa.
There you go.
Mario Huliafa?
Close.
Not bad.
Yeah, I think I could say that. Say that again. Mario
Huliafa.
Yeah, Mario Huliafa.
I'm probably way off.
Well, I just repeated what you said, so.
Hey, kid's got some game though.
Mario Huliafa.
We're going to have to learn his name because, well, the three of us, at least two of us, at least, are in the commentary team. And fair to say, he's going to bob up at certain times because he can really hoop.
Yeah, he's got some game. I flagged him at the very start of the NBL season as my must-watch guy of that league because, coming back from Sacramento State, I like his kind of skill set. He plays hard at both ends. He can shoot the rock. He can get into the lane. He's kind of like a Casper Ware-ish kind of type in the way that he goes about his game. And that's a nice little pickup for Southeast Melbourne and their depth chart.
Mario Huliafa.
There you go.
Got that. That's easy.
Done.
It's just when you look at it, you know what I mean? It's extremely scary to even attempt to announce because you do not want to butcher anyone's name.
Agreed.
Sure. But, okay, cool.
Tell you what, that green light he had in the NZBL might be just a little amber when he gets to the NBL, but geez, I like the way he goes about it. All right, hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. For everyone who whacked me last week on Twitter, I hope that was a little tougher when it comes to yes or no. So we'll continue to rise up when it comes to putting these guys under the grill. Anything else for us, Homicide, before we're out of here?
No, I think we covered a lot.
We most certainly did. Plenty to get into. We'll see you next week.
Peace.